We are joined by Johan Olivier, excuse me, sir. And for those of you who don't know, he's from a company called Ranyaka, which he's going to tell us a little bit more about now. But these are one of the companies that we've actually decided to work with over the next few years. They've just got some amazing. They've had some amazing accomplishments. They've really achieved some amazing things, and we're going to find out exactly what it is that they do here today, just for everyone else's edification. So, without further ado, Johan, how are you doing, sir?
No. We are sort of locked down and fine. We've got family from everywhere here, Jared. So it's quite an interesting time, and we try to work, of course, also here in my bedroom.
Sure.
And Sonia is also next to me.
Hello, Sonia.
I invited her also to come and talk. It's actually such an important time at the moment, and nearly a tipping point for our country also. So it's exciting and changing, and you need to adapt as you are. And
yeah,
very excited.
Yeah, you know, that's actually been, I mean, we've had a few talks already this morning, and that's just been the constant, is that, you know, we at a time when we need to learn how to adapt. We are fraught with challenges, but challenges are just a part of life. And this just goes to show that we never know what it's going to throw at us, you know, or we never know what life's going to do. We just we're on this boat in the water, on this ride, and we don't really know what the currents are going to do, but we've got to learn to pedal. So, Johan, I just want to start off by just a little introduction. If you can just tell our viewers a little bit more about you, who you are, what you do, where you're from, your background.
Yes, thanks, Jared. As Jared has said, I'm an urban planner or a town planner, city planning. This in the country, and I've been doing this now for 25 years. Started as a young planner in '94 in the city of Johannesburg from Potchefstroom University. So it was quite to adapt from the very Afrikaans to the suddenly everything is in English. And the first reports we wrote by hand, and we had to send it to our typing tool. So there was no Google and cell phones or nothing. So that's where I started, and I've worked in the city of Joburg for 11 years. And we've just done some amazing things in terms of town planning and really help communities on the ground. And then in 2005, we started a planning consultancy firm called Akanya Development Solutions. Again, been really privileged to be involved with Gautrain station development in Sandton and in Rosebank, some very nice projects also. And in 2013, we decided, sure, guys, there's definitely a gap at community ground level where we can definitely partner with communities and just use some of the planning methodologies and tools to really make places better and to make places that enable their residents to be just better economically, better socially, and just have a nicer time and be happy in the places where people stay and work. And that's sort of the road that we followed for the last 25 years.
Fantastic, Johan. So you know, you're currently active in a number of different areas. Maybe you can just touch on those. Just give us an idea of where you're currently operating and you know, sort of the stages and the phases that you're at there.
Yes. Yeah, I think we're busy with a program that's sponsored by Nedbank called Proud of My Town. And we're currently in 6 towns or cities. I'm quickly mentioning them in Magaliesburg, of all places, that small little place just outside of Johannesburg. We actually started there in 2013, so it's close to our heart. And everybody that's there, we are in Mamelodi and Pretoria and Tshwane, in Nelspruit, up in Polokwane, also down in PE. We've just getting going there. Parel and Stellenbosch, and then in Khayelitsha and some of the Cape Town neighborhoods that's close to us. Yeah, Mankweng up in Polokwane, we've also started. So they're all at different levels, Jared. Magalies, Parel, Stellenbosch, we have very close networks, and it's just amazing. I think the best of this is just amazing to see what people are doing, where they are, with what they have. It's just amazing to this last few years, and I think that's what keeps us going. Yeah, because sometimes it's difficult. We are an NGO, you know, so the funding is also an issue, but just people's amazing innovation and just their persistence and just waking up every morning and tackling their challenges. That's just amazing, and that's really what keeps us going.
Yeah. So one of the things that really stood out for me, you know, in the meetings and discussions we've had is the level and the depth that you drill down into in terms of properly understanding what these challenges are, because I think we've seen a lot of people's hearts are in the right places, and there's been a lot of money thrown at some of the challenges that we have in our country, but there's been very little in the way of actually dissecting and disseminating and looking at things, and also understanding exactly where the community's needs come from and working more closely with the communities, as opposed to coming in there just trying to solve a problem that you don't really understand. Maybe you can just talk to us a little bit about, you know, how you actually work with the communities and what it is that you do in order to properly understand what these challenges are, and then how you work with the communities to resolve these challenges. Maybe just a couple of examples there.
Yeah, yes, and I think it's quite a challenge, because I think a lot of us want to do good, but if we really want to do good over a long term and a long game, we really need to understand why we are doing good and where to start and who to start with and what's the real issues. I think that's the way we start with any community. We've got a number of tools that we use so that communities can just start to get together. NGOs, businesses, schools, churches, the government, just sit around the table and through a structured process starting to discuss and just identify, but what's the real issues here? And we all are busy, we all are doing good, but are we moving anything? And I think that's where we enjoyed sitting with communities. There's excitement when they see, wow, there's so many people busy in our town or in our community. We are busy with really good things, but now we can start to put targets down. If we are busy doing good, at the end of the year, we can start to look back and say, sure, guys, we've moved some of these things. We've shifted some barriers. We've connected with each other across racial lines, income lines, all that. So that's where we start. And after that, we identified opportunities where people can really start to work together. And work together is a difficult thing. It's not it doesn't happen automatically. I think we all think because we're busy, we are working together. But to really, really work together with somebody because they are, it's nearly like a spiritual brother and sister. It's not just a beneficiary. It's just not somebody that we want to give food to because it makes us feel warm and fuzzy. It's really somebody that you want to build a partnership with. And then to see the small things, you know, somebody that cleaned their front yard or painted their door, or there's now more food that we can give because NGOs are working better together. Just seeing local entrepreneurs starting to envision themselves in their community and not just as a business on their own. They suddenly see that, sure, I'm part of a bigger community, and my little business can start to contribute to some of the social issues and the violence against women and children. Although I have a very little turnover a month, but I can still start to help. And that's the process that we go through. Let's get the bigger picture in place. Let's measure what we want to do. Let's work together at a real in-depth level. And let's just start to change the physical spaces, streets, your house, your street, your corner shop, you know, all those type of physical things that we can see. And that's the process that we follow basically in all of the communities. And we can see the benefit where communities understand what needs to be done because it's coming out of their experience. But they can see there's a measurement approach. So we followed a bit of a structured approach, you know, frameworks and models and all that things that allow organic people to really just do what they do best within a framework that we can measure, and that we know at the end of a year we at least are shifting some of these amazing complex stuff that we're working with.
Amazing. So what is your experience been in terms of, you know, when you're going into communities and well, let me ask you this question. How important is it, how fractured are well, if I look at you know, my life and my surroundings, we're a fractured society. It doesn't really matter what race you belong to. We're fractured in society, and I think technology's played a big part in that because, you know, it's become very easy to sort of sit and watch TV or to sit behind your computer, whatever the case may be, and there's not a lot to draw us together. But how important is it in your view that society as a whole, within, you know, at a community level, that we come together and start working together? I mean, when you see these things start to happen, tell us about some of the outcomes.
Yeah, I think look, there's definitely fragmentation and all that, but I think the nice thing is we work place-based. So that means a specific town or a specific neighborhood.
Yeah.
So there's already a boundary for people, although they are fragmented and maybe not connected yet. We are in the same boundary. We stay in the same town. We stay in the same neighborhood. So that's already a huge plus that we can start to use, because we need to work closer, better, and longer. And I think the previous speaker talked about patience. We need to have patience, but it must be at a specific place that gives us all a face. Because sometimes we work national, for example, and we say we're going to give food or address children issues, but it's only when you start to look at that where. Is it in Fuleni, or if it's in Khayelitsha or in Magaliesburg, that there's really a face to these things. And then the fragmentation we can deal with much easier. I think fragmentation is a problem when it's sort of at the no face level, where we actually don't know where it is. It's like the virus at the moment, it's sort of faceless. But it's critical, and we've seen just so many examples where people just started to work together. I can mention Magalies, their festival that was started in 2014, Magalies Rock the Cradle. I mean, it was a real community festival. No big organizers. I think we had 30,000 rand to begin with. Only 3,000 to 4,000 people the first festival. And I think we now already, Sonia, at about 12,000.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. That was with our initiation, the Magalies Business Forum, now the Tourism and Business Forum is driving that. And those numbers have just grown exponentially over the past few years. And this year, Magalies Rocks the Cradle Festival is in its 5th year. And I think the last year was 12,000 attendees already.
Yeah.
So that was completely citizen-led.
So what does that mean? I mean, so what does that mean for a community when you have 12,000 people coming to this festival, you know, parting with their money, supporting local business? What does that mean? I mean, what is the impact there?
I think if you do it in the right way, the impact is it's shared at a much bigger level. So even the guy with his 3 taxis participated. So he now started to selling tickets for the taxis. The guys that make stuff, they participated. So the difference, Jared, is it's not a big organization-driven festival. It's a community-driven festival. And I think the value, yes, there's definitely monetary value for everybody, and that's what we want. But there's also a social cohesion value.
Amazing.
Of people really starting to work together. Practically, we need to get the fed cooker at that time, at that stand, and it must be fresh. You know, all those little things that just makes community what they are. I mean, if you're running out of tablecloths, you know, where do you find it? You phone Tanny so-and-so. And that's just amazing. And the festival is my one example. I think people that's really started their own business forums where they really connect at the local level, starting to work together. The young people is just coming up amazing now in this period with such a lot of new innovations, and they want to participate. I think people really want to work and want to benefit, but we need to know what we want to do with all this energy. We don't want to look back a year and all this energy has been spent, and we actually don't know what we've done in our communities or in our towns and even cities.
Yeah, so I mean that's the one thing I've seen, you know, in this short time that I've been involved in this journey over the past few months is that there's a lot of goodwill and good intent, but unless we sort of take that energy and combine that energy together, and unless we have a really deep and in-depth understanding of what we're trying to achieve, you know, it's going to be very difficult for us to do that. And I think what we're seeing now, you know, it was so encouraging for me, Johan. I don't know if you recall this conversation that I had with you where we talked about the private sector coming together. And I don't know if you just, we can pay checkers, they're all coming together now. You know, obviously you have to have something that's so motivating that will actually takes away the bottom line, it takes away the competition, and it becomes a common cause. And this is you know, the situation as bad as it is for us, and it really is bad, Corona, but it really has done that. It's sort of taken away these dividers, and I think everybody realizes now more than ever that the only way for us to overcome anything is as a united front, and that will take us, it will take government, it will take the private sector and the public at large to be able to do these sort of things. So I hope that we can take learnings away from this experience here and not just let it be about Corona, but for the sake of our country, because South Africa is in desperate need. And it's so nice and so refreshing to know that we've got people like yourselves, and there's a multitude of people that are currently involved in all these amazing initiatives, you know. Let's give these guys a platform. Let's combine our efforts, and let's really take South Africa to where it always should have been, you know. So I just want to thank you very much for all your effort and everything that you've done. Just on another question I wanted to ask you. So you work on this these 4 pillar structures. Can you just sort of touch on those very briefly for us in terms of how those 4 pillars work?
Yeah, I think when we looked at and we read a lot, look, we also need to make sure that the things that we do are technically can be validated, and because we need to work with government and academic institutions, foundations. So when we look at all of this information, we said there's 4 critical things in any community. I think the first very important one, and we see it now, people must be healthy, they must be educated, and they must be active. And that's the first pillar that sort of cover all the human side, the social side of things. Because if you're not healthy, you cannot do much. And that includes now you need to be the right nutrition and food and everything. The second, I think the coronavirus is showing it where we are at the moment. The second important thing is if we are healthy and educated, active, are we productive? And are there opportunities that we can do economically? Can we build our own economies? And then the third one is, yes, we can now be all healthy and educated, we have opportunities and we are productive, but our places, are they enabling what we want to do? If you don't have water, don't have street lights, if the sewer is always in the street, if the place is just not attractive, you will not get investment into your place. So the way that we deal with our spaces is the third pillar that we think is critical. And then the last, probably the most important one, is that thing that the clever guys call social cohesion. It just means how well do I know my neighbor? And it's not just my neighbor next door, it's my neighbor in the township. Yeah, it's my neighbor at our shopping center. So those are the 4 pillars that we're working on, that we've seen. It just unlocks so much because it's connected to so many things. And we've seen communities, as soon as they catch that and they see, wow, but I have a space in each one of these pillars. Yeah. For one, economics, yes, let me go and drive the economic pillar in my community. And if I love children, let's go to the pillar around education and community and activity and health. But if I want to just be an artist and I want to make my street nice and paint my front gate or put up a mural, let me go to the places type of pillar. And let's just be kinder. I mean, that's the whole social cohesion pillar. Let's be kind to each other. Let's understand each other. I've been an official for 11, 12 years. So in my heart, I'm still an official. So it's sometimes sad to see that our municipalities are hit so hard. And sometimes valid things, sometimes, but they need so much help. They need people to go and just step into their shoes. I think somebody also said it earlier today. And just say, look, we are here, we want to help. Because part of the cohesion thing is also our municipalities. And how do we connect with them and how do we assist them in that? So those are the 4 pillars that we work with. And we've seen it allow clarity for people because they can see where they need to lock in. Because it's an integrated approach, but we all know integration doesn't mean you throw everything in a pot and we now one. You need to understand every if you want to make a nice potjie course, you need to understand the type of potato, the type of meat, and the integration at the community level is the same. We cannot just put everything in a pot and how are we happy. We need to understand ourselves and what we can and cannot do, what our spaces can do for us. And then we really integrate and connect. And we've just seen a lot of impact and value by using that. And it's nothing new. We're not rocket scientists. We're just using the things that's there, maybe better, and together with community and make it people-centered. Amazing,
amazing. I want to touch on because I mean a lot of South Africans are not aware of the levels of entrepreneurship and the type of economy that's actually happening in these communities. And I mean, let's just touch on it a little bit because there is some phenomenal stuff happening out there, isn't there?
Yes. We hope we can bring some of them on this platform. Because that's what amazes me every time, and it gives us heart and go get is just people are doing so much with so little. I mean, and the excitement that there is in some of the communities to tackle some of these issues and be real businessmen. And look, they struggle. Some of them are really micro. But it's there, and I think sometimes our country, the policies are missing that level of entrepreneurship, and I think what we push a lot, if we can start there at the micro level and really push up, that's where your base forms, that's where your young entrepreneurs form, that's where they see the first time how it works to sell just boerewors. You know, some guys phones and say, yes, Johan, I need 2,000 rand just to buy the wars for the weekend. There's a festival. I know I can make money. And that's a type of help that we sometimes give. And some of those guys, you know, from the boerewors stall, they're into the festivals and they like the restaurant and things. So there's so amazing energy at that level. We must just focus and harness that energy and work alongside those type of micro entrepreneurs that's not always getting the help that they deserve.
Amazing. Okay, so if you have one message to the country right now during this time, you know, during this time that we're in, taking into consideration where we are right now and potentially where we might be in the future, what would that message to South Africa be?
Oh, that's that's quite a loaded question, Gerard. No, I think from our point of view, from a urban planning point of view, we just want to say #place matters. We need to put a face to all these things we do. So ask, if you want to give food, where is it? How does that place work? Who is in that place? If we break the whole country down into all those places, then we can start to move and see where we do things. And places nurture people, and they're very patient. Your streets, you will stay dirty until we do something. So for me, it's that thing. Whatever we do, just recognize that it happens somewhere at a place with a physical footprint, our street, our houses, our towns, and let's give a face to everything that we do. There's so many people on your platform that probably stays in towns, and as soon as we know where they are, where they stay, your whole platform suddenly changed. Yeah. Because it's now place-based. It's not just a base of 1 million people. We suddenly know where they are, where it happens. So I think that's a big thing. Except now all the other things, please be kind and let's do what we can. From our point of view, place matters. It's critical at this moment. Yeah, especially during lockdown. Yeah, you know, and some of these places where people are locked down, like at the informal settlements. I mean, yes, we are sitting now with trying to find out how do we do this isolation thing. Yeah. When you are 12 people in a 2 meter by 2 meter corrugated iron structure, that's the type of things that we place-based that we're trying to sort of work with different specialists and find solutions for that.
Yeah, listen, we've got some real challenges there, and I see we just had our first confirmed case in Khayelitsha. I mean, that's a concern for everybody in the country, you know. So I mean, what do we do here? What do we do to try and stay in front of this thing, try and work to minimize the effects of it? I mean, what suggestions do you have there, Johan?
I think the first thing, Gerard, and this might not be easy for some people, there is structures in place, there is regulations in place. The municipalities has got their joint operating committees going. They work with SAPs and with a lot of other NGOs. So we just need to find out if it's there and how well it functions. We don't necessarily need to wait for them, but it's critical that we understand that there are things in place that we need to work with. In our townships, the movements are critical. So where they go in and out, our taxi ranks, I know there's limitations on movement there also, but that's the first point of contact, suddenly where they come from town into townships. So just keep clean, hand sanitizers. How do we sort of sort out isolation there? Stay out of the streets, but it's so difficult if you stay in a small shack with 12 people, and we're starting to look at a number of shacks maybe as a unit and see how they move within that. We're looking now at water circulation through a very innovative water can tap type of system where people can just on a regular basis wash hands, use soap. We're looking at masks, and I know there's a huge controversy over masks. Yeah. Medically, but I still think sometimes we must also look at the thing as its ceremonial value that it provides. Yes. If everybody starts to wear masks and it's like a symbol afterwards, I have my mask, and there's all those things that we need to look at. But we need to, I think the president also says, number one, kill the virus. Yeah. Stop your movement. Don't just move everywhere. Don't just put food into townships. Let's just do that for the next 3 weeks. Then we can do all the other things in terms of giving food, getting sanitation out to people, and use the structures that they are. If they're not functioning 100%, be patient with them. Yeah. Rather strengthen than create new. I think that's the main message also. Don't try to create new structures. Strengthen what there is, that we can as a unit. Because remember, we're going to get out of this thing. Yeah. And we want to work with structures that's strengthened, that's resilient, that can tackle our next challenge, like economic growth, new economic development, all that type of thing.
Sorry, can I chip in for a moment? So I'm Ranyaka's marketing communications person. Just because things can so easily be misinterpreted, just on the note of don't just put food into townships. Johan did mention the Joint Operations Committee, is that the right word? Yeah, there are, NGOs do need permits to distribute in townships, so food distribution is taking place.
Yeah.
We're just saying that should please continue, but it needs to take place responsibly and within the regulations as set down by the National Disaster Management Act to safeguard townships. We don't want to take the virus in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very valuable. That's very valuable. So if people want to get involved, if they want to assist you, I mean, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, I think there's this email address, admin@ranyaka.co.za. We've got a Facebook page also if people want to get involved. Yeah, no, we've got a Section 18 certificate, so whatever funds we receive, we immediately get it down to community as quickly as possible. Because I think that's what we also require at the moment. There's a lot of national programs going on, but we need funding at ground level as quickly as possible. And some of the national programs will catch up later, but we need immediate, I think, funding and relief at the moment.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for everybody. Johan, thank you very much. And Sonia, thank you very much for your time. Guys, just keep up the good work. We look forward to a long and fruitful relationship with you. I think we're going to come out on the other side of this thing, and we're going to be in a strong position. Yeah, it's so nice to know that we've got so many people involved in doing so many wonderful things in this country, and it's not all bad at all. Nowhere near. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Look after. Be blessed. Take care.
Yes, be blessed. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.